This is your brother Surrealism or Prism of Realism. And we got Adrian, Ken, 52 in the building. Special guest on Surrealism Stream TV. She's known to me as AK-52. That's the spiritual, dimension to it. AK-52, how you doing?
I am well. I'm in
Well,
cosmic alignment. I'm grateful. How are you?
I am always expanding, evolutionary. It's always great to see you. Definitely talk to you. You got
Thank
something
you.
special for us in the name of the Galactic Prayer. The mic is all yours.
Yes, I do. Thank you so much for the nice opening to the galactic prayer. I would like to just do a little small introduction. It's underneath the 13 moon peacetime. You can find this at www.lawoftime.org. I've actually been studying Law of Time a little bit with my brother here, Surrealism, and it's been a beautiful experience thus far. Basically, in a nutshell, this prayer is to pretty much acknowledge all of the cosmic forces that surround within you and as well as outside of you. And you just pay homage to that in anything that you do. When you wake up at the dawning or whatever cosmic time you run on, you acknowledge the seven directions. This is called Prayer of the Seven Galactic Directions. From the east, house of light, may wisdom dawn in us so we may see all things in clarity. From the north, house of night, may wisdom ripen in us so we may know all from within. From the west, house of transformation, may wisdom be transformed into right action so we may do what must be done. From the south, house of the eternal sun, may right action reap the harvest so we may enjoy the fruits of our planetary being. From above, house of heaven, where star people and ancestors gather, may their blessings come to us now. From below, house of earth, may the heartbeat of her crystal core bless us with harmonies to end all war. From the center, galactic source, which is everything at once, may everything be known as the light of mutual love. Ayun Hunapku, Eva Maya, E Maho. Ayun Hunapku, Eva Maya, E Maho. Ayun Hunapku, Eva Maya, E Maho. Ashe, Ashe, and Ashe yo.
Shayo. Well, we definitely want to thank you for that, Adrian. And that is very powerful and evolutionary and is ancient.
Very.
And yes. Now, would you like to share anything else around the law of time and what we are currently evolving and studying with and how it's enhanced your life and awakened your life? Anything you'd like to say around it?
Thank you. Yes, sure. Great question. When I embarked the journey of studying law of time, I would say that it really awakened my conscious mind into knowing more of the unforeseen forces that actually ties into our life experiences that we actually see, or the seen forces and the aspect of it once it's been processed from the unforeseen in the mind's eye. It actually tells us more of what time really is and how it's an actual faculty in how things are being, i.e., how did you become incarnated, or how were you born to be, and how, and it further discusses on how that actually happens as a as above so below type basis. And as above, of course, when we go to a cosmic universal scale, we deal with stars and planets, so on and so forth. And it's below, with you coming here, it's the same process. The comets, planets, when it intercollide, it actually it coincides with the sperm and the egg and how it collides, and then a spark comes forth, which is you that comes forth, and how you come into the being. So once when I tapped into that knowledge and this spiritual science of that, that's when I was like, okay, I finally got my answer as to why things the way how they are. So it's pretty interesting. And of course, it's ever expounding, as my brother Surreal would say, and what he's doing, which he's absolutely right. That's what all of us are doing. But the law of time, it's a major faculty that expounds the inner and outer forces that is very amazing. So that's just a little snippet.
Oh man, that sounds like you ready to do some continued episodes and expansion on that, Adrian. I hear the spirit talking, and I feel it, and it's real.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're fine. I'm just acknowledging.
Yes, and we know the more as natural beings, the more we can align ourselves to the natural energies and frequencies and vibrations and tones in general, that creates a greater shift or awareness within our heart, spirit, mind, and it allows us to flow and see and maneuver through what we define as third dimensional reality or artificial time more strategically
Yes.
and live what is defined as our unique purpose in alignment with those gifts that you have to bring and share within this dimension. But there's a value of this experience because then you start to see you have more power than what you think you do.
That is actually correct, and that is definitely in alignment with time. And I must say that I know that we're in a time space of acknowledging the artificial for what it is, AI, but that is a sub faculty too, because it helps you to dig more within yourself and more within the powers that you actually possess. Because artificial is just what it is, artificial. Something has to program that. So what is that something? Something that's got to be organic. So of course, but we've been locked into a dimension of the artificial space and what we do. And once when you be permeating that type of field for so long, then of course conversions does happen. That's just universal law. So I'm very grateful to be in this experience now because we can actually, like I say, acknowledge for what it is, but we have to make peace with that because only thing it still is a faculty of going within and seeing what we can do to trump that. See how it's
Yes,
that ever expansion going.
yes. Oh, I
So,
agree. Anything else you want to add to it?
um, yeah, it's in. Well, I don't want to go in too deep, but it's like I say,
You know
it's
we
in.
will
Oh, we will.
one
Okay.
day. You
Yeah,
know
but
we will
it's
one
an
day. We're gonna
amazing
continue this,
thing.
Adrian. Go ahead.
No, okay. I was saying it's an amazing thing. I'm gonna say, and even with us dialoguing on it, it's just expanding even now in the now. But artificial is what it is. It can be misused. I mean, everything has its misuse. We misuse ourselves.
Yes, right.
So I like how my brother Surreal he acknowledges the duality and balance. You
Yes,
got to get to know him on that aspect. I mean, when you talk about duality and balance, I mean, he will take you to the stratosphere with it.
oh, I
Because
appreciate
I
that.
didn't have peace with that. I didn't.
Yes,
But the more he opened the door, I must say, he opened that doorway within our temple or my temple and seeing other sides to it or another dimension onto it. I'm like, oh, yeah, that is alive too. But we are the supreme alchemists. We do wear the garb of that. We can mix it, match it, disintegrate it, integrate it. We can do it all. It's just gonna have to take its natural time of cultivation. And we got to be reminded of that every time we interface with nature every day. That's why it's important to get back to that. When you can make peace with nature, you can see how you grow too.
yes. Boy, I'm gonna say that was brilliant. That was perfect. That was in alignment. That is universal truth, and that's the
Yes.
expansion of the evolution of it and the depthness of how concentrated the rawness of what's real and organic and natural is in your evolutionary state of being. Now, in saying that, Adrian, as I know you would agree, this process of coexisting within this dimension and merging artificial with recognizing it comes from the natural. It's a fractal, broken down, reorganized, disorganized, chaotic, but yet organized, but yet chaotic play on
Yeah.
us. Because even in its what looks to be unorganized and it just seems like a bunch of problems, there's a structure to those problems. Those problems are created out of what is organically natural and should be harmonic in how it flows. But the spiritual aspect has been stripped, toned down, tuned down, totally dormant. And then we have all this technological advancement, all of these, people who are spending more time in those lanes and not recognizing that you got to feed this inner soul and spirit, and that technology is nothing but an extension of you. That's nothing but a extension of you
Yes.
in what we call, AI, artificial intelligence, created mechanical machine computerized form. So can you
That's
imagine
exactly
that?
correct.
Come on now. So imagine seeing that all these devices we're using are extension of the mind, the eyes, the body in general, the heartbeat, the digestive system. All these different things are plays off of the body. How the cells, go from a single cell to multi-cell, and how we remove waste product from the body, and all these things, and energetics is all coming from the spirit or the soul, or the template or the archetype of the body as its basic design, let alone what's been stripped out of the design.
Right.
So can you imagine, as you were sharing, you were able to quickly make that connect too of the balance between the artificial and the natural, but you're putting your cosmic flag and what you feel you want to do in it and what you can control, and making peace with things that you're like, what, that's going to be whether I be or not be. I need to be what I have to be, because it's always going to do what it's going to do until there's a timeline or some greater force or a true shift of the power structure, which is all slowly, or some say becoming more faster, and what we're all being prepared for. Because those of us who thought about these things and felt these things, or who never spoke about them or may not have really searched them, are now coming online, as I like to say, and
Yeah.
recognizing I need to change this in my life. I need to do this. This doesn't serve my true identity and purpose and who I am. This doesn't make me feel well. I'm going to let this go. I'm going to change that. And I'm realizing the more we do that, we're growing, always internal, external, but you're aligning yourself so those other spirit guides or ancestors or higher forces or angelic beings or whatever, you know, variations of ETs that are benevolent to humans, or who see our cause or who are supportive to it, can send messages, to you through your dream state or through premonition state, or through, whatever form of, whether it's astral projection, whether it's, lucid dreaming, all these other creative ways to define spiritual growth, and how the mind has now come to separate it through the Western mind. But nonetheless, this is all part of the whole mind. It's all part of the one brain.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Even though we have the sections of the brain, we may have a lower brain and a mid brain and a higher brain, but they still are part of a one brain. So then, the challenge becomes, how do we unlock the left and the right hemisphere, or as I come to learn this term, hemisphere sync? How do we align and become more whole brained and healed? Any thoughts to that? I was in
Yeah.
the spirit for a moment.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. Yeah, it is a lot of form of techniques, well, or organic technologies that will first acknowledge the fact that it even is in existence. Of course, you got to have that underway before you can able to traverse into the different paths of awakening those type of spaces.
mm,
And it's like you said, it's all of this is very real and very true. Um, what else I can say about that? It's a lot.
Yes.
It's a
Yes.
lot.
Because think about it
So
with the artificial, not to jump your thought, and I apologize, but think about with the artificial, they have us, they're attempting and have done a creative job on locking us into our basic survival and our basic survival mindset. You start to feel like, well, there's nothing I can do. And, I'm just, I got to eat. And we can become so consumed with just keeping shelter and food and clothing and water and the basics versus how do I flip that to have that be not only enough, but be abundant in those areas so I can be even spiritually abundant. Because think about it, the universe or the planet provides all.
yeah,
It's these structures that are making us think with the programming, oh, there's a food shortage. Oh, there's not enough water for everyone. And it's like, what are you talking about? It's not enough in the way you're using it. If you're polluting all the water, it's not enough water. But if you're going to use the technology, let's use it to clean the water. So my
mm-hmm.
thing is, if we're going to use technology and be solar and wind and any other natural way of using the energy that's organic, a lot of things can change overnight. But I've come to realize that if I'm a representation of a smaller universe, smaller planet, or a smaller sun, or a micro, let's say a micro sun, or a micro universe, or a micro planet within me, then I have to start there. Let me start rearranging what's inside of me, how I think, feel, see, taste, touch, smell, how I move in general. Let me really realign that. And I think you would agree it is a timely process. But
Yeah.
time is only relative to the consciousness or the fractal consciousness in which you're perceiving your energy movements or the creative thing of time that we experience.
Yes, I definitely concur with that. Um, what can I say about that? That's so amazing. That was well said. Um, I've learned where I'm at now that that is true. Excuse me. That
Uh-huh.
what we're interfacing with does have us locked into our survival instincts. I know Dr. Jewel does a beautiful job with acknowledging the different layers that we interface with in our brain, the layers of the brain from the brain stem on up to the actual frontal lobe, or the humanistic type of brain that we supposed to be in all the time, quote unquote time. But being in the fact that what you said is surreal is fractal, we be in a certain spot and we just stay locked, we can't ascend. So with that being said, the spiritual science behind what we're interfacing with, sometimes it's gonna come off as if it's wrong because of
Yeah.
what's being portrayed as wrong. And
Yeah.
it's not wrong. That's you unlocking your wisdom from within
Right.
for you to see yourself move
Right.
from a different space of where you have been dwelling in.
Right.
And it's amazing when I touched on knowledge of Dr. Phil Valentine and how he was saying that God or our spiritual consciousness actually dissipated itself in many fractal forms for it to get to know itself. So that's basically what we're actually doing. We don't envelop on top of ourselves to get to know us, and we have all of these faculties here that help us really interface with that on a deeper level to get to know that about ourselves. So it may be unorthodox for you to do certain things in order to generate currency for you to keep the survival instincts or the survival the fundamental basis of survival at bay. It may be that for a little while, but that doesn't mean that it's wrong. You tapped into that for yourself because you saw the vision in your mind's eye. They like to say third eye. I like to acknowledge it as the first eye because you see it all before everybody else do. That means you see it within your mind first before your two eyes are able to perceive it to be. So with that, being said, we get into that fear too because of the trauma that we have going on. It's a lot of that. I know we got to work through that, and I still deal with it on a day-to-day basis too. I'm like, but at the same token, what I've done so far, I'm very proud of myself. And you may have some congratulatory events that may happen for you too.
Yes.
But that self-congratulations for you is none other. I mean, it's bar none.
Yes.
So it may not look like it's right. Other people may pass their own judgments because there may be something that they just wouldn't do, or it's just best not fit for their own alignment of their life.
Yes.
But if you see it and if you know that it's going to elevate you, and you got a plan after that, then I mean, you're good to go. You're good to go. But yeah, I would say that these forces, they've done a great job with locking us down in this dimension.
Yes.
We have to acknowledge to move on. Yeah, you did that, but it's something that we have that they don't even have the capabilities to really tap into, and that's really you. You see everything before the world sees it. And we do possess the cosmic armor of truth. We do. Do we make the sound judgment of whatever it is that we want to do? If it's something that we want to do, we know how to keep quiet about it. That's an armor. That's protection. If we see something, and it's an excellent protection device that we're representing. The pineal gland of seeing all is encapsulated in this. It protects.
Yes.
It protects your thoughts. It protects your world and how you perceive it to be before you even say anything about it. You see how it has to come in before it can go out. But but this avatar that we have, that we've been blessed with, we got to acknowledge it. It is divine protection.
Yes.
Only time that something can really interface with it is if we allow it. But that aspect has been hijacked amongst us too, though. So I understand that aspect as well. Me too.
Yeah.
We so loving and so giving, and so welcoming and everything. But we got to, look at the qualities that may be projected onto us, and to be able to do that spiritual evaluation on whether we want to have that involved into our own temple, our own life or not. It's really amazing. Melanin is very, very amazing.
Come on now. I mean, it's critical. Melanin, carbon. I mean, you're talking about the foundational elements, or the foundational element that set it all in place, that set the whole thing up, that set it all into being. You're talking about a deeper inner light within, even using those English references to describe a powerful cosmic light or dark light force from a dark spiritual light force. Because as you see, darkness is faster than the light, but I'm talking about the spiritual darkness when all the light is absorbed within what we define to be the color black. As I'm evolving and expanding my awareness with understanding color, but also the light frequency of color, and what does all the colors do when I remember as a child taking crayons, and at some point I said, you know what? I'm gonna put the red on top of the blue color, and the blue on top of the red, and the yellow.
That too.
Right. And didn't it get darker and darker?
It did.
And eventually it turns black.
Because at one point it had turned brown before it got black.
It turned brown before it got black. And that's it. So think about what that says when it comes to just who we are as a natural galactic cosmic being, and all that ancient knowledge and wisdom within our DNA. Think about all the color that's in the DNA, in the light of the DNA, or within the light of the DNA code.
And even further, think of the consciousness of the color when it decided that it wanted to just stop there and live that color.
Man, that's intense.
It is, because you went through the week, that great example that you used, that it took this type of color and that type of color and that type of color in order to define it as black. So now
Yes.
we see the process of the harmonics of consciousness and how it binds. That's an agreement.
Yes. Oh, it's a major agreement. Can you imagine just understanding that? Because it's one thing to feel it, but when you can articulate it, you take it to another level of third dimensional density mastery. Because you can describe it, you can move
Yes.
other people with it. They can be touched by it. The frequency and the vibration of that can stimulate change in their heart and their mind. Because I come to really understand as I humbly still evolve with the power of the heart and the heart mind. You change the heart, the mind of the heart, you change the mind physically.
Yes, it has to follow suit with your consciousness.
And the first organ from my studies, if it has me correct, and I believe it, and I feel like it does, and if I recall correctly off the top of my dome, the heart is the first organ created.
Yeah. And it has chambers.
And it has chambers. Come on now. Look at that. Uh-oh. Look at that. Chambers. And it's like, well, wait a minute. So think about the intelligence of the heart chambers. It's the first organ, and it's like, well, look at the creation who created the avatar and why that's first. Why is the heart with that sacred vibrational hum? That sacred heartbeat that's a galactic cosmic vibration. That's a signal. That's a
Yeah.
pulsation. Your heart pulsates. Vibrates, oscillate. To me, it's all the same thing. Once you get past the wordplay, because I'm like vibrate, oscillate. It's the same thing to me. Pulsate. The only thing that defines it differently, if I'm gonna use that word, or I'm gonna say that gives a variant aspect to it, is how you specifically using it. Is it in full alignment or it's in, fractal or partial? But nonetheless, a vibration, a pulsation, an oscillation is all part of the same.
It is all part of the same. And
It's all
that's
part of.
where
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, all good.
And it's all the same, and that's the understanding of the force of the Most High.
Yes, because one reference can be dealing with anatomical, physiological, biological. Another reference can be dealing with, if you're dealing with electricity or engineering, and then another reference can be if you're dealing with man, it just slipped my head too. Oh, if you're dealing with more spiritual, if you're dealing with more of a spiritual context in general. But based on the body of knowledge, let's say the body or the title of the knowledge or the degree, let's use that, the degree of the knowledge of the body you're dealing with, that word has an interesting meaning and usage. Just as the same way we say all the time, oh, those vibes wasn't right, those vibes was on point. Man, I'm feeling that, I'm not feeling that resonate, that don't resonate. There's a certain spiritual connotation, connection, integration, versus just saying, well, that's just how the car vibrates and moves when there's issues with the struts or something's going on with the wheel alignment, versus this particular fan is not oscillating or spinning at the
Right.
vibration frequency based on having it plugged in within the outlet, based on the amount of volts that it is designed to have as a specific type of technological machinery or instrument. And that's the interesting part when you're dealing with it from a technological versus spiritual logical. How about that?
Yes. And that's where we get cut off at, because our outer world don't acknowledge the spiritual. It robs you of it.
Yes.
It robs you.
Robs you. Leave you spiritually, morally, emotionally, and I may have it, whichever order we want to give it, mentally, soulfully bankrupt if you're not careful. You can find yourself literally all 5 base dimensional bodies, and even those 5 base dimensional bodies are very powerful in their individual, let alone collective state, but it leaves you spiritually bankrupt, so spiritually, soulfully bankrupt.
Yes.
So how can there
Yes.
be a six-dimensional, or how can there be a 5D or five-dimensional understanding, let alone 6D, let alone 13D, or whatever other dimension beyond that, let's just say? How can you even go into any of these other deep aspects of understanding and knowing if you walking around feeling spiritually? Well, I'm gonna start it from here. You're walking around feeling emotionally bankrupt, mentally bankrupt, spiritually bankrupt, soulfully bankrupt, and then physically bankrupt. In whichever order, again, people want to place them in within their particular development. Nonetheless, it's still part of the whole development. But all five bodies on a base level need specific attention and detail so you can integrate. But again, if the main processor, which is which is truly really the heart mind, as I'm coming to really, really embrace and get deeper with, in conjunction with your gut or your inner sun, because that's an intelligent system right there. That's a brain. You got a brain in your gut. You got your gut brain, let alone, what we call the mental brain. So we got all these dimensions of upper and lower, or levels of consciousness, or dimensions of consciousness, in how we sense intuitively what we resonate with or what we don't resonate with.
Yes. And to take it a step further, how do you even know that? How did you even know what's appeasing to you, or what's, for you, and what's not? How did you grow to even learn that?
Now
It
that
has
is
to be metaphysical science behind it to even tell you, well, in order for you to interpret that, of course, you have vitamins and vital minerals that help you assist with that, or water helps you assist with that. Now we're
yes,
getting into the elemental table and what that spiritual science really is, and how it's helping you to interface with your life experiences. It's really,
yes,
really amazing. I must say, it's a beautiful, beautiful lesson that all of us are learning.
yes. And this is the deep part. Let me slow down. This is another one of the layers of the deepest layers of it, in my humble opinion and understanding, which is whether you are aware of it or not, it's happening.
Yes.
Whether you are a rock standing still with it, or a snail dragging its home or its shell on its back, or a turtle with it dragging its home or its shell on its back, or you're moving like a gazelle or a lion or a tiger, nonetheless, whatever creature, life form, organism, it's happening. It's happening to us. And if we just identify the human species, oh man, once you start to wake up, you control how fast or slow you're gonna move with this. Because you are by default, before the as I'm coming to learn more and hearing different views on it, whether it's through Dr. Jewel Pookrum or the brother Billy Carson or Dr. Phil Valentine or many other elders that have spoken on these things in various degrees, or even again a lot of the younger or old new souls, a lot of crystals as they're being referred to, whether it's the indigos, crystals, however we want to, I'm with all the creative wordplay to a degree, but I'm more interested in how are we moving with it. Because if we get too locked in,
Excuse
you
me.
know, the terminology sometimes, and without really integrating, my main thing is how can I learn the terminology and integrate it to make movement and change that I want. And in saying that, I guess the point I was trying to make is that we control how we're going to heal, which is to me one of the main golden master keys is healing the trauma, which is something you addressed earlier. And it's something that again is taking me many more years to do that, and it's taken many years to get to this point. But nonetheless, I recognize and I realize that this is something greater, and this is something that breaks the patterns. And if you can share about, what you come to understand in your own life when it comes to the power of healing and seeing yourself in the process, from past till, let's just say, from past to where you presently are to where you would like to go.
Okay, that's a great question. Um, it's amazing how, our trauma, it's like it's a subtle always has been there.
Yes.
Like when you chime back into your childhood years, you see your struggles and how you go, how you grow into, of course, your different quote unquote linear years of your life. You will notice that it will still be some things that's still lingering in the background that's coming from, childhood. So when I became aware of that, I'm like, okay, this may be one of these spiritual lessons that I may have to learn, that I need to learn how to make peace with and move on. So that becomes like my agenda. I'll talk to myself about it and I ask, well, how do I do this?
Right.
So for my answer, it always be to, go and look for the answer, go and expound on it. So, of course, the universal question is what, how, what, when, where. That's like an extension of the time thing. So, those are the questions that I ask and I evaluate. It's amazing how you kind of already know the answer that you're looking for when you hear it. It's amazing. But when I go and do my own research as to why it's like this and why it's like that and why I'm carrying it, it helps me move forward to where it gives you a vision on how you want to live your life going forward. I use myself as an example. When I was little, family first, I've been teased about my complexion. Back in the day, it was like that, So for the longest, I would, and it affected everybody, to a scale. If you were dark skinned per se, and if you have a best friend that may be a brighter complexion, but it was more favorable for the girl that's like, light skinned to get all the attention. That has happened.
Yeah.
I have a biracial best friend, beautiful.
Yeah.
Green eyes, bushy hair, all the light. She would get chose, over me. That's fine, but it initiated that. Why is it like this?
Yeah.
So when I came into my own research, I understood why. Oh, okay, this is like a ancient war that's been going on there, and now it became politicized on color. But to see how information and knowledge is debunking all these myths that we were once interfacing with, many years to come. So now I know. Then to move forward, the hair. Oh man, you talking to your girl that, if you were dark skinned, you automatically had bad hair.
Right. Yeah. Right.
So I dug into my own, spiritual science behind that and understood, well, these are nothing but electrical coils.
Uh-oh.
And honestly, the tighter that they are, the more space or information it can contain.
Look at that.
Why is it such a bad way of, not saying that everybody's hair is, different evaluations of good or bad. It's not, because it still exists. So it has a purpose.
Yeah.
According to that architectural type.
Yeah.
But for ancient people, we had this big hankering in our own community about that. So I had to go, and that's recent science that I just tapped into. And I'm linear age, 32.
Yeah.
So look how long it took.
Yeah.
And I done this. I ran this back in 2014. But in my environment, I was kind of ahead of the game. So, I still had a little thing going on in my mind's eye, and eventually I moved into the relaxer type. But once when I dug more into the questioning and more into my own path of understanding, I'm like, okay, well, who said that it's bad or good? I'm me. With that law of time, combined with the law of time, you'll get this and you'll be comfortable. So trauma is very strong. Trauma, in its own way, it is chaotic, but it still is a teacher.
Yes.
There may be one of them teachers that we may not like, though. But brings out something that's beautiful at the end of the day. And for me, it brought me the beauty of myself.
Come on now. And I appreciate hearing that. And what you
Yeah.
touched on is something that all, shades of us go through. It was like, oh man, you light bright, almost white, so there's a whole complex between, man, you ain't really black enough, let alone if you too dark, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
that ancient play on melanin and all this creations. I mean, do we really think a black rooster or a brown rooster is telling itself, or you're a blacker rooster and you're brown, and are they really doing all that? I mean, animals have various levels or shades within a particular species. There's going to be some slight difference, but more often than not, based on how they've been able to evolve together, things look identical.
Mm-hmm.
But as you were speaking on, that is an ancient tool that has been that divide and conquer on whatever level, whether it's color tone, eye color, hair color, tall, short, all these other things we get lost in. And then we don't really get to know or value the core of who we really are and who you're really interfacing with. And then it's just trauma on top of trauma. But then when you start to become aware, you realize somebody set that up to begin with. Because at the end of the day, my thing is, it's all about, as we come to understand, the power of melanin and carbon. And we know what color that is. That
Mm-hmm.
absorbs it all. So all of it goes back to the original foundational source and those light bearers or those particular ancient ancestors. Now, again, I'm learning to always stay open of the various shades and degrees of melanin, whether they look orange or orange, yellow, red, or red, blue, black, purple, or they look purple, black, green, black, pink, black.
Yeah.
Melanin has a creative mix based on the environment that it's in, what it needs for that environment, and how the environment and the elements in that environment help to re-alter or rearrange for that particular organisms, not only to survive but to thrive and to coexist in its highest fullest state. So if I need to have, if it was like an orange red star on the front of my forehead, if that's what I needed to be recognized by certain galactic forces, or for the sun to be able to be transmitted, or as plants do photosynthesize light, if I have to photosynthesize light with a green plant red star on my forehead, then that's just what it has to be. But like you say, it becomes something we poke fun at or we laugh at when we are out of our right mind, when we are totally upside down and don't know which way right side up is.
Mm-hmm.
So then we make fun of our very self, and we are a reflection of all these spectrums. It's we all we're seeing is different variations. Well, we're seeing. I don't like using the word different. I'm coming to understand it's important to really use a variant or variations of itself. It's not different because different has a stigma or a program that makes you feel like, well, it's totally different from me. And I'm like, no, it seems that way based on the level of intelligence that it may be bringing to you, and vice versa. But if we on
Yeah,
the
that's
same
correct.
frequency, you see what I'm saying? If we on the same frequency and vibration, I don't see no difference in what you're saying because you are a high, high colored or whatever, or almost white, or a white chicken, or a black or brown rooster or chicken. If we speak in the same thing and we moving in the same frequency and force, well, I don't even see a white chicken at a certain point. I see something that integrates and connects with me within a deeper spiritual, mental, balanced state of awareness. I'm not caught up in, oh man, that's just a white chicken there, and I'm a black or brown chicken, or I'm a yellow chicken. All the chickens seem to do what they do to me. They all seem to get down with each other based on the, again, and I'm gonna qualify them on my end, based on the frequency and the vibration to the truth and the alignment of what's being presented. But if that chicken is acting like a crocodile, or that chicken is acting like, it's gonna prey on the other chickens, then something has to happen. quick story. There's a reference, if I remember off the top of my head, when a bee goes rogue within the hive. If it's not I think it's a bee or it may be an ant. It's either one. But if they go rogue or they come back with not the right frequency or they don't do the right movement, they're like, yo, you getting out this hive. And they will literally attack that bee and take it out. They're like, you're not living with us acting like this, because you're gonna whatever that virus is you carrying, or that unbalanced bacteria or mold, whatever it may be that got you tripping. Because they sense when this bee, or if it's an ant colony, they sense when you ain't right. Because they all got a duty by nature in which to do, which is for the betterment of the collective of the hive, to service the queen bee. So if the queen bee ain't being serviced by the drone of the worker bees, it's like, yo, you gotta go. You can't bring another queen up in here, because they're not gonna allow it within their species and within how they get down. From my understanding, the other queen gonna either be killed or kicked out. Either she gonna be killed or kicked out, because they're like, we cannot have it. Now that's within that species. Now again, other species, let's just say I saw something with a hippopotamus. And based
I love them. I have a hippopotamus friend.
That's right. Come on now. And they were showing with the hippopotamus, you got this, what is defined to be the alpha male, using that term creatively. You got this one male, or this one dominant male, and it's like 10 to 20 or 15 female hippopotamus. Now look at that one. They find a way to coexist with that, and he has babies with all of them. From my understanding. Now they may have some little quarrels or something going on within, the water or the pond, or but they seem to know what they're gonna do. But when there's a young male hippopotamus, and if he wants to be able to mate with the other women that are here, he has to go to war with that massive elder hippopotamus. And I've seen this on like a lot of the Nat Geo and Discovery. It's a lot just from studying, just observing how nature is studied. Now, whether I agree with the whole storyline, it's always up to my own opinion or interpretation. There's a lot more that's probably missing. But at least from what I've seen, that young male hippopotamus, he has to go at that elder hippopotamus. And then he has to go at him to the death. He has to literally spear him, push him away from his family, all his children he created, his wives, and he just keep, using his tusk, and he's going at it, ramming them until eventually digging up holes in them, and he pushes them far out, and eventually that male hippo gives up. Either he leaves or he going to end up dying. And most of them, they either get too old and they know it's their time, and they just say, all right, I give up the throne to you, and that's that. Or he may just say, you know what, I'm too old, I don't want to die and fight, I'm gonna just have to leave. But a lot of them know it's so heartbreaking. He's like, man, this is my life. I'm not gonna walk away. I'm not gonna give up. But I've seen some, at least they show that will leave. Some try to come back. Some may leave the war of the battle for the moment between the younger hippo and the older hippo and maybe come back. But others, I think I've seen once or twice where the elder hippo, he didn't want it. He was like, I'm done. It's just your time. It's your time, and I'm letting you. I'm not even gonna fight you. I'm gonna let you have it.
Oh, now, wow!
And saying this, it's deep based on a particular species when it comes to the survival, and that's what it's about. It's about the survival of the best intelligent or the best intelligence within the cells of the DNA, and who's gonna keep that line of their particular family going or their particular species going. Now, nature, as creative and complex as she may be, and I know there's certain references of he, she, in that regards, it's deep. And what I'm saying is there's a lot of unorthodox viewpoints that are being taught. Because whether I like, the way this animal get down or that animal get down don't matter. They're in a condition or an environment that requires them to operate accordingly. And that's what they do. That's what they do. And in bringing this quick reference to an end, I guess my point is to say that there is the natural default in what is natural to a species. And then there is what is unnatural and chaotic and what is programmed into a species. And in saying that, the creative challenges I see even for myself or for anyone else walking the path, of their own interpersonal enlightenment, let alone, we can get into some higher spiritual levels of ascension. And all these things are whole nother ancient dimensions of conversations and various ancient texts and scrolls and scriptures and quote unquote hieroglyphs or high, high carved teachings, all the creative ways is defined. What I'm trying to say is that there's still a base nature of information, of knowledge and wisdom that we have access to. No matter how much we've been hacked, how much we've been, fractalized, how much we've been traumatized, how much we've been broken, shattered, you still have the what is defined as inactive or quote unquote, DNA that is quote labeled creatively as they call it junk DNA, which is really inactive, dormant, disconnected DNA, which is more information, more integration to expand as a human into the higher dimensions of who you are. So imagine we in a form now, as I'm coming to learn and get deeper with, and we've had some great discussions on that as well. We're toned down to what we ultimately used to be and once was. And we're walking around with so much more as a carrier. We're a carrier of ancient knowledge and wisdom and all the galactic cosmic, as I'm learning these galactic cosmic battles and pyramid wars and things. And I'm happy to be very open and considering how much more there is to know. Because I'm like, this thing is really deep. And what's happening is really just a replay of energies and frequencies being dense that have now become encapsulated or trapped within a certain planet. And I think I was sharing with you as we were talking about how, and again, giving shouts out to the brother Billy Carson based on his studies on this. He was saying, man, you got to understand, this planet is not only a starseed planet, but it's an abandoned starseed planet. When other galactic or cosmic wars happen, and those particular survivors had to go to other solar systems, sun systems, galaxies to survive. He used this term, we're cosmic refugees. Man, that was mind blowing for me. I said, wait a minute, let me just process that. We are in this particular species that we're walking around in, we all are cosmic refugees. Can you imagine that?
Mm-hmm.
So look how older and more ancient we really are, and how this war, this ancient battle of spirituality and non-spirituality and worship of technology only has been happening, versus raising spirituality with technology to have it merge as one, because it all is one. But when you have a consciousness shift that's altered, or you have an unbalanced state within the DNA or the heart mind of that particular life form or species, they now worship technology and want to become artificially integrated without the spiritual connection to do more disaster and chaos and more war. They want to control the natural life forms. They want to actually control the power of the sun. They actually want to create their own sun.
And I can't say that they can't do that, because I mean, it is a possibility, because they've been more in the element of, studying how it works. Once when you learn how it works, alchemy can take place. Now, we're not going to say, they may be successful with that, because that's
right.
The metaphysical aspects behind it too. Like, we have a conscious, our sun has a conscious, a moon has a consciousness, and it is very, very highly intelligent.
Yes.
Do not sleep on it. If they don't want you to be interfaced with them on that level, it will not happen.
Come
And
on
being
now.
the fact that they've been in existence way before we been integrated into this avatar, that's the odds that you're facing with when it comes to them wanting to take over an element that's so grand scale like that.
Now I'm glad you said that. That's very key, because there always is a cause and effect from the natural action of that cause.
Yeah.
So now
And
you're going to
then
get a
it's a
natural effect.
twist. It's a
Go ahead.
twist. It's a twist.
Yes.
What if that, like you said about the hippopotamus, with that what they dealing with, and with the elder has to fight, and then they may say, you know what, I'm done.
Yes.
What if the son allows that and say, you know what, fine. If this is what you want, fine.
Oh,
They have
imagine
that
that.
choice too.
Can you imagine that if the sun just says, now I'm still learning the life cycles of a sun or a star. You know, they talk about this white dwarf, brown dwarf, and
Yeah, I think we may have a backward understanding of it, because now when you talk about light years, that's futuristic terms. We're actually dwelling in the past.
come on now.
They're already done. I mean, in order for them to know, this time, moment, and space, and what they're gonna do, they already ahead of the game.
By who knows how many quote unquote
How
light
many?
years.
Yeah, I mean, when you talking about light years, look how long it took for them to get to what, Mars or
Right.
other planets. It took our linear years of measurement for these apparatuses to get to different planets and so on and so forth. So light years, that's future.
Yes, because as you know, they're dealing with ancient technology and knowledge and wisdom in all the ancient sites all throughout the world, in
Yeah.
caves, in systems, and ancient people who are here, you know, who knows how many millennia. So imagine if you're discovering that and you're housing that in your institution, and then you're studying it. You know, there was something that I saw briefly that was dealing with Tun Ankh Amun, or Tun Ankh Aten, or Tun Ankh Amun, or commonly referenced as King Tut, and they're still studying how they created, you know, his sarcophagus, how they got the gold to be so thin, how they overlapped it onto the mask, how they were able to work with these elements. We may think, oh, it's just in a museum and they're done with it, and people kind of did some basic studies, you know, from the discovery of it, you know, or the invasion, you know, quote unquote discovery, the invasion into the tomb. And I'm coming to recognize these, you know, deep organizations or institutions, they're studying this as we speak. You know, next time I'm gonna play a clip and show that, and they're studying how the gold laden sarcophagus or sarcophagi, how it has all the hieroglyphs, or what we commonly, or the, I forgot the other term, the that's I forgot the other ancient reference, but in commonly speaking, how it was interlaced or written. How did they make gold like cloth thin? They had gold that was cloth thin and engraved on it. It ain't got it to stick on a particular base or an element, whether it was wood and then it went into an outer metal. Like, they're still studying this as we speak. They're studying they're studying it on a deeper level using current technology, which is ancient technology, and they're getting even deeper with the microscopic view of it, or the subatomic microscopic view, as I'm speaking creatively, and what they see. And when I watched this a few days ago, real quick, it was like, oh, well, there's wood underneath the cloth lined gold, the gold that's cloth lined, or of a it's of a the cloth that's of a very thin structure like clothing.
Uh-huh.
There's wood under it. Like it
Wow.
was like it was like a wood impression, and then they were able to take the gold and overlay it, but they knew how to take the gold, it seems like, at a certain temperature and overlay it. It's kind of like the way you do a mold. Say you make a mold for soap.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? That it seems like it has that same kind of base. Like they took a wooden mold that already had the carving and took the gold and at a certain temperature and looks like they may have poured it to where that at a certain temperature it merged. So they're
Wow, that's
talking
pretty
about the
cool.
deeper. That's what's coming to me and what I saw, but it makes a connection on a deeper, alchemical level and how they were working with the elements. Any thoughts to that?
I think that's very cool. And once again, that the constructs of the binding and the knowledge behind atomic and subatomic and the relationship, the interrelationships with the elements. I mean, like I say, it's, you can have a very manipulative and, a very grand experience with that. But you can take that and look at, us and how we're like a mix of, the elements. And
Yes,
with, with the gases, the liquids, the solids, of course, different forms with that. Why is it like that? It's just, oh, that's nice. That's a nice fact you shared with me and to the rest of our audience here. Shout out to them.
most
Thank
definitely.
you.
Shout out to
Yeah.
all the future viewers and followers, and those who definitely will be supporting in the present future, as I call it. And I'm gonna say this: we're a little over the hour mark. But if you're willing to give a few more minutes, because again, I would love to continue this as another episode, and definitely, real quick, can you touch on, man? Because that's a I'm trying to make the change or the segue
Oh,
in
I
my
know. I
mind.
know that realm was very nice to be
Man,
in.
I'm still there. Like, let me go to this other part within my consciousness. But in approaching the timeline and being cognizant of that, and definitely thanking you for being on and sharing, you have product that you create and sell. Would you mind sharing and showing us some of these powerful creations and how you put your ashe or your energy on them and why they need to buy with you versus him
Oh,
or
okay.
her? Why should they buy with you?
Oh, okay.
Or
Thank
trade or
you.
barter, as
Oh
we
yeah,
do.
trade or barter. I like that. Yeah,
Come on
that's
now.
more appropriate here.
Right.
Um,
Go ahead, please.
yes, I do have a line. I do have products that I sell.
Uh-huh.
They're called, well, the business is called Blissful Botanical Creations. That was birthed this year. How about that?
All
Once when
right.
I really got my studies going, I'm like, okay. So
That's right.
I got into that, and so basically, my product specializes in the ascension of knowledge of yourself. So
Yes.
it's different fragments of that I don't went into, but I'm more so acknowledging body butters or the organization of the skin. I don't know if you can see that here.
Oh yeah. If you come a little closer. Oh man.
Oh,
Can you open
okay.
the top for us if you don't mind?
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah.
Sure. Oh, look at that the label. I mean, you can see the
Oh,
perfection.
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of love and care in this because that's an extension of you. So you're
Yes,
giving
I
it your
really do care
100%.
about that. Okay, wait a minute. And then, of course, you got your
Look at that.
labelings here. I don't know if you can see
Man,
that.
look at that. That needs to be everywhere.
Please recycle.
That's right. Breathe recycled. Come on now.
So this is what it looks like. It's
Look at that.
actually
Got that.
pretty soft. This whip.
You see that whip swirl going on, right? See that
Yeah,
cosmic
yeah.
swirl always
Just
present?
dig right on in. Yeah.
Big right on there.
So I
Wow.
call this one the Cocoa Comfort Whip Body Butter.
Wow.
Um, yeah, it's all organic, of course,
Look at that.
and it actually has the base of actual organic cocoa butter, and
Yes.
it has a scent of chocolate of cocoa. I really do like that. So
Man,
in
you
addition
smoking.
to it, yeah, I mean it's really really nice. So in addition to it, it has coconut oil,
Yes.
almond oil. I don't know if you can see that, almond
Yes. You see
oil,
your ingredients list. Uh-huh.
and macadamia oil, and then my spin or my touch, the love and light healing energy.
There you go.
I like this because it caters to that cracked skin per se.
Yes.
and it actually help with the moisturization of the cells, well, the skin cells. So of course, when we evolved throughout time, we became land creatures. Well, what better way to retain the moisture within the skin? Well, Mother Earth has blessed us with these butters that will originally come from seeds, but when you change the chemistry of it, it can become a butter with the essential carrier oils that happens to carry the nutrients to your cells to keep it to give a revitalizing effect. So I do like this combination. It's very, very nice. And then I have the cinnamon and vanilla.
Oh man.
Sugar and spice, everything nice.
Man, look at you.
So this is the more if you want that immediate, like right here, right now, moisturization. It has the combination of the shea butter, and also have jojoba oil and grapeseed oil. Very nice carrier oils that actually hits the cells of the tissues very quick, so it absorbs, it won't linger onto the skin. It also has a very nice scent too, with the organic spice of cinnamon, and then of course you have the plant of the vanilla.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really nice, and it's all organic, no fragrant, no artificial fragrances. What you see, what you smell is what it is,
There
and
we
it
go.
smells like icing. It's really, really nice.
It's gonna be some people out there that's gonna get confused and think they can literally digest that. I mean, that's gonna have
Oh
to be.
yeah,
You're gonna
well,
have to put a warning label. Please do not eat.
yeah,
Please do
don't
not
just
eat.
I wouldn't recommend eating it, even though
Right.
if you could put on your skin, you can eat it.
Right.
If you want to try it, it's really not gonna bother you. It may, loosen you up and eliminate you, but you kind of do want that. But don't don't eat
We
it.
all need it. Right.
Yeah, I actually had a dog to like lick the top of, like, I sold it to a person,
Yes.
and her dog wanted to smell it, and
Right.
she actually licked the top. So I was like, oh, okay, well, if she liked that, and it didn't even bother, I'm like, well, of course, it's real. So,
Right.
but
Most
just
definitely.
to speed up the process, I do have caters to sages.
Yes.
These are metaphysical tools that we use in Kemet for various reasons, but my main source is to bring back the science of using your mind's eye and seeing yourself in all things. So we
Yes.
all know it's purification, but of course with the binding that we mentioned before, the binding of different elements to bring forth an experience that's more into your favor. So I do have we do have the seventh chakra white sage smudge stick here. Of course, both of these sages, they're symbolic of yourself. And these rose petals that you see here is a symbolic of your energy centers, or also known as chakras. Just a few. We have a lot within our body, but this is just acknowledgement of the main few. And of course, the colors, it'll symbolize the different centers. And when you ignite with the fire being the energy, and once when it burns, then of course it's going to release into the atmosphere the purification that sets the tone of your own intentions of what you would want within your life. So I like this one. It's more of a spiritual tool for me, and this
That's right.
more so caters to how you want to prosper in your wealth.
Yes.
Whatever wealth is defined for you. We have the pink status flower attached to, well, in agreement with the sage, will being yourself, symbolic of yourself, to bring
Yes.
forth that manifestation for you. It also helps, both of these sages actually helps, or any other type sages helps with your awareness and keeping you within the present.
Yes.
Meditation tool, it keeps you in alignment with what's happening with the now within yourself. So I like that. And then for my beauties, we can't forget about the
Oh.
lips.
Oh, yeah, you can. Come on now,
Can't
Adrian.
forget
Talk
about the
to us.
lips. So we got I like this one. This is the Vanille Delight. It's
Wow.
clear lip gloss. Um, it has the vanilla oil extract in it, as well as I like the sweet almond oil and coconut oil. This is a nice combination.
Wow.
Hydration of the lips, and yeah, and then they got the rose mint.
Wow.
combination going. Real rose petals inside.
Oh man, come on now.
And then the peppermint essential oil to pretty much give the balance. Well, no, yeah. Pretty much gives the balance and also the love and adornment of the lips. It also glides on clear.
Yes.
It just has a tint to it, and of course a different scent. So that's just basically it in a nutshell. I don't want to keep you any longer on that. I can go
No.
in on all this stuff, but that's why I like to sell it.
Come on now, and we're gonna do follow up with that for you as well.
Yeah.
So that way you have the time, to definitely go in on the product, the quality, and just the expansion of it and what it will do. And that's definitely next time we're gonna make sure that we can get some other links or information on you. Due to my, with me working things on my time, I kind of accelerate the process.
Oh,
But
it's
next
okay.
time we're gonna have more, most definite. And you were open enough to roll with the flow because the spirit is like that when you need to get it going. And for me,
Yeah.
I'm always like, it's like get it moving. You'll get it more perfected as you get along, but get it going. You know enough to get it moving. So I told myself, as I come into this new galactic cycle, that I'm not going to hold back my voice as well as the flow. And when the idea comes, and if it's concentrated enough and there's force of it, the spirit say, move on it, move on it. So that's why, surreal sunstones or surreal stream or surrealism stream TV is now in effect. And,
I love that.
again, I'm
I
looking
love
forward
that.
to, come on now. And we're going to have other guests on as you. We're going to also have a multi-guest panel.
Oh
So
yeah,
we'll
I
have
would love
other.
that.
Yes,
I love that.
yes, we're going to have a multi-guest panel on these discussions, as well as whether we can barter and trade and buy from each other. I'm always saying let's do that, but definitely within the way the panel is now, I can bring up to 10 guests. So imagine 10 people on here at
Wow.
once.
Oh,
So
we're gonna be tight. We're gonna be tight.
yes, it's gonna be a cosmic party on another level.
Yeah.
A cosmic conversation party.
Right.
So we're gonna be talking about products. We're gonna talk about inspiration, motivation, healing, all dimensions of self, and definitely just realize that we're not alone, even though it can feel that way at times. But we're all growing, learning, sharing, and ultimately, the more we can interchange amongst each other, the more we can see the higher light and the expansion to what really is. And then we can get beyond the earth, third dimensional problems without the duality to it, which is dissolving. See, to me, a problem is half the coin without the solution.
Yeah, it gotta have a solution. It has
It
to.
has to. So these conversations, as help to do what? They stimulate more brain activity, brain cells, neurons,
You
they make
name it.
connections. Come on now. And as we make these connections, you change. Your consciousness goes further into the awareness. So, and then
Yeah.
imagine the other brains we were talking about too. The reptile brain, as Dr. Jewel talks about, and others. And you got your insect brain, your bird brain, as she states, and then your humanoid brain. I mean, can you imagine? Just going with those references, let alone the storage of the energy that's in a liquid form, capsulized or frozen within the back of your head, the side of your head, the front of your head, the top of your head. Can you imagine? It's like all this ancient information waiting to be, as I'm coming to realize, the true alchemy set is within. That's the original alchemy set. So can you imagine when you activate that inner alchemy, and now an electrical current being carried by the water or within the bloodstream liquefies this particular area and creates a certain charge, and a certain release of information is, let's just say on an atomic or subatomic level, is released within the cell.
Yeah, that's really amazing. That's why it's so important for water.
Come on now. Water is a carrier, a life giver, a life receiver. I mean, as I'm getting deeper with the spiritual understanding of it, I value water way more critical than ever, because it's a receiver, a transmitter, it's an eliminator. Anything you want to say to that?
Yes. Yes. I've trying to make it within my best interest to consume as much water as I can, because of course we see the play
Yes.
with the third dimension of all these products to dehydrate you.
Yes.
Why?
Why?
When that's the flow of life. That's the flow of you. There they go. Want to rob you again. Dehydrate you. And then they coin that into the little business industry.
See what I'm saying?
Not good.
No. But we got to find a way to flip it, to move it in a way that we can maximize it, to use it as a tool when it comes to, even if we have to buy the water, let alone if you got a well in your backyard, let alone if you're using diodes with the water, if you're using magnets or crystals, all the things I love to either experience and do to up the frequency of it as much as possible. And in saying that, my thing is, when we see the strategy of what they're doing and we flip that into what we're going to do to interactivate. Remember, I have choices here. I can live strategic if I cultivate enough of my brain tissue and integrating and heal enough and go past a 5 to 10% consciousness. I can see through all of this.
Yeah, you really can, because you will see it first. And it's amazing how it'll come together. It will come together for your own benefit.
And then you draw people, places, person, things, ideas to you that serve your higher purpose and the goal in which you want to go or live.
Yeah, I mean, it's just super amazing how all of this, comes together. Those are the cells that portrays the light.
Yes.
Or information that portrays the information for you to act out on. That's the key. That's the key. But you got to get the information. You got to get exposed. So you have to ask those questions that may feel uneasy, or people may respond to you as this crazy when you know it's not. Always remember, I think Bobby Hemmings done expressed this plenty of times.
That's right.
If it pops up in your mind like that and it's very permanent, it's real.
Come on now.
It's real.
It's all
that's what you need.
Yes, and I apologize for jumping your thought.
No,
but we're swimming in light, as Joelle's, or as I say Joelle's, on a, on a creative tip. But as Dr. Jewel Pogram state, we're swimming in light. You live in light.
Yeah, we in light all the time.
And if light is information, ooh, man, wait a minute. You telling me I'm swimming in light and information around me and within me? Oh, man. So what I'm implying, where is there not an answer? Where is there not a solution?
The answer's all around, but they will try to cut it off and try to make it seem like it ain't nothing there, and then they got all the answers, but that's not true.
Right. Because what I'm learning too, and again, I apologize if I'm jumping your thought. You're triggering this, and when I get in the spirit, sometimes it's like I'm here, but I'm not here, so I have to okay, because I go in I go into the zone. It's like I'm here, but I'm not here. So it's like I see you, but then I don't see you. I'm just. But in saying this real quick and tying in, what I'm realizing too is that our time, space, energy, or time equals art creation is very powerful. It's very critical in how you use that. Because if I give more of their problem, my time, energy, than I do the solution, that's an unbalanced equation.
Uh-oh.
See what I'm saying? So how are you going to get to the solution to solve the unbalanced equation if you given only one part of the equation more time than the solution, which is the problem?
Wow, yeah, you made me tap into my own thing, what I have been doing, which in a sense, it is on balance, even when it comes to the, the health community, which I like to specialize in too. Yes. I've gone on a deep end of being radical and not, doing nothing at all with the eating or doing this, that, and the third. And then I come to the understanding of you got to balance it.
Yes.
You got to balance it.
It has to be. You
got to balance the equation.
Come on now. But see how quickly.
I've done it.
Go ahead. Talk about it. Go ahead.
I've done it. Being gung-ho on certain things, but you're still not addressing, the other things that led up to that point.
Come on now.
You got to see those problematic structures with that too. Not saying problem is wrong or problem is like an issue, but the problem, that's basically what it is that initiate that question.
And that should initiate finding the solution based on how far you're willing to go, as deep as the sacrifice will allow it for you to get what you want to get or to gain in the outcome.
And you know, many solutions. Like I've seen numerous of solutions, and it's like, dang, you know what I want to get into.
Come on,
but
now.
It's great to know that you have options like that versus not having anything at all. Like I've been really exercising that strategy because I had dealings with my own life, you know, with the situation that we're in now, you know, pertaining to COVID, you know, things like that.
Right.
I was getting ready.
Come on now.
If they don't pop off like that, well, I'm ready to go ahead and do what I got to do with this right here. May not, you know, I may not like it, but it is still a solution. I still know the direction where I want to go.
Yes. And in saying that, and it's a quick reference. We're at the hour 20 mark.
Okay.
And hour 20 minutes. And again, you know, in alignment with your time as well, we're going to definitely continue this discussion. And I will say this, you know, if you don't mind a few more minutes, that what you said is very critical and crucial when you come to that understanding and knowing. But I think you would agree too, you have to take time out in your life to process.
Yeah.
You can't overload the processor with more information.
I've done that. Process. Yeah, I've done that.
We all have.
When you do that, it'll make you throw in the towel. I was there at that point.
That's what I'm saying.
That was what? This week, I think.
Yes.
Last week or this week, I'm like, yeah, I'm done.
See what I'm saying? You got to take a time out because
you got to take time out, yeah.
In the program, and think about how we've been taught to use our time and energy and our thoughts. You've been taught to go and go and go and go and be exhausted and be tired and don't stop and keep going. What is natural about that? Within our species, what is natural within our species thinking and operating like that? And again, I've been guilty of it as well. We all have unconsciously.
Oh yeah.
But now that I'm becoming more consciously aware, oh no, I have to change my day-to-day paradigm, or plasma to plasma paradigm, or week or heptad paradigm, or month or moon paradigm. I got to change how I'm operating. Period. You know, and it's tough choices and sacrifices based on how much I want to know.
This does help.
There you go. Man, I got to get that almanac. It's in my cart. And I thought I hit the pay button, and I didn't hit the pay button. It's sitting there waiting on me.
Oh, you didn't? I thought you did get this book. Or this almanac, rather.
I thought I didn't hit the pay button. I had it in there, and you know when you put stuff in your cart, you make changes. I didn't get it, but I have other books definitely that reference, you know, from the Law of Time website. But I got to get you to, and you said, man, get that almanac. I got to get it.
It does help.
Matter of fact, I'm ordering it today. I'm not even going to talk about it. I'm getting it today.
See how this book acknowledges you? Wait a minute. There you go. Right there.
That's right.
Oh, even more. There you go.
Look at that. Man, I got to get it. I'm getting it today. I'm getting
encapsulator. Yeah.
Now, you know what's deep? I heard go ahead. Anything you want to share? We got a few more minutes.
Well, it's amazing how we in alignment because, of course, the Gregorian date is the 31st of December. But look what it's acknowledging, that throat.
Communication.
And look what we're doing.
Communication.
There you go. Y'all better get on this. Y'all don't sleep on this.
Come on now. And that is critical. And you see the changes. I got to get,
Yeah, it's a communication. We're doing it.
I know. Man, I'm ordering it today, and I was been supposed to have it. But you know, my lane in my mind be shifting and shaking and baking. And you know, you just go around the merry-go-round to realize, okay, I'm going to get it now. But that's the other thing.
To make peace with that.
Go ahead. Going around a merry-go-round, huh?
Yeah, it's like once when I caught myself doing that, I asked somebody, like, okay, well, what I need to do right now? And I actually listen to my heart space. When I get that bump,
Yeah. Your heart will
or
tell
when
you.
it's something that you know you need to do, and it's like that, you feel that pressure in your heart.
Yeah.
I take that as a signal. Go
It is a
ahead and
signal.
move on that.
Immediately.
Yeah.
No, there's no thought here. It's just knowing. You already know what you got to do. And that's me included.
That's how it breaks that karmic cycles.
Yes.
Or the repetition of what you have been doing. That helps you. There you go. That signal.
Come on now. And that's critical. And I'm going to say this, as I come to embrace that even deeper in my life, you see where you do it in other parts of your life and how far you've come and where you don't do it, where you've come to recognize it. But as you would see, being consciously aware with more brain tissue integrated from the right and left side makes you very present. You're able to laser lock focus on what is defined as the problem to the solution. And I like to call problems creative challenges. See, I'm working my reprogram with even the word problem. I call it problem. It's either going to be called problem solving or creative challenge.
Oh, I love that. Hold on, where the chat at, honey? Where the chat at?
There
Put
we
that
go.
in the chat.
There you go.
Let me write that down.
I appreciate
Or
that.
the chat. Hold on.
There you go.
Let me get my notebook.
Okay.
We gotta write that down, y'all.
Yeah.
Downloads that be coming through. Y'all got to get that.
Got to get that. Because see, that changes the frequency. So then you start thinking, well, this is about solving the problem. Oh, this is a creative challenge. You don't just say, man, I just got all the problem.
Creative challenge.
And then problem solving. So instead of just saying problem by itself, it's problem solving or it's creative challenges. If you're going to reference just problem in general, you're going to say, okay, I got a creative challenge on hand that I got to solve. Or I got to get into some problem solving. And it puts me in a whole nother circuit of awareness because I'm like, if I just say, oh man, I got all these problems and no, I'm not accepting that.
Yeah, now.
No, man, I'm not wearing that as like an energetic, program or energetic spiritual cloth. No, I'm not turning myself out with just problems and no solution.
I had to work on that. That's a recent lesson I had to deal with. Like, I had to work on that. And I'm still working on that. It's like, well, when I tap into that, it's like I tell myself, it's a solution out there. We working on it. It just got to cultivate. But it's happening.
Yes, and it will because you are in the alignment for it. And if it's aligned within your dimension and direction, or I should say if it's in alignment within the direction of the dimension, let me rework it. If it's in alignment within the direction of the dimension, you're going to see it. It's just whether it's a little bit later versus now. But you're going to be pushed to see it either through a person, place, idea, or thing. That could be the stimulus to get the connection going. And that's what I've learned in my own creative, my creative evolution of my own life. And I'm like, okay, that's what's happening. Is this, is that. I see, and again, your eyes will move here, your eyes will move there, your eyes will move forward. Your eyes may go up, your eyes may go down, but you will see it's multi-directional, but that multi-directional is one. It's all part of that cosmic spin again. It's just it spins either 30 degrees or 33 degrees to the left, 33 degrees to the right, or if you're going to go 30 degrees or 20 degrees or 5 degrees, that's all relative to your evolution.
Oh, so you want to go to astrological science? Because that's what you termed that. Those are called cusps in the houses.
Come on now.
Degrees and rotations there. And yeah, we can go there too one day. I know a little bit about that, the delineation.
Well, if you got a few minutes, it's on you, Adrian. I mean, remember, we're touching into what we're going to lead into.
We can say that for another show.
Okay, most definitely.
Because that's kind of expensive. But yes, I would say the mainstream version of astrology, I'm not going to say it's incorrect, but it's not acknowledged. It's not acknowledging the angles.
Yes, and how critical they are, right?
And yes.
But see, to me, that's the layers.
That's the path that we've all taken on to even incarnate into this experience. See,
I like that. See, to me, it's that when you say angles, to me, that's the connections of one of so many layers to a level, to the next level, to the next layers, to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, astrology does very good job with holding the agreement with that for us.
Wow. Well,
yeah, man, I love that astrology. Now, I'm a baby in it still, but just off the information that I've known and actually spoken to a specialist in that field, what's his name is Cosmophysics. I actually talked to that brother. He is on Instagram though, but he actually was with Gathering of the Masters one time.
Wow.
He's acquainted with the Who Not Cool. He's been with Bobby Hemmett, Dr. Phil Valentine, quite a few. I think Dr. Khalid Muhammad, and he actually has an interview with Brother Rich, Black Magic 369. I think that's his screen name on YouTube.
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, he done a little bit of that. 363. Yeah, well, Black Magic 363. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. So shout out to them, and definitely shout out to Cosmophysics. He's spelling it a nice way.
That's right.
But he opened the door up for that for me.
No, much love. And like you said, there's a lot of us out here, and a lot of us are growing, and we're still working through, our degrees of blockage, whether they're the older elders generation or the younger. My thing is extract, filtrate what works for you and what you're going to do based on who you deal with. Yes.
I love that. That's exactly correct. Filter it and process it and use it for what works for you. I love that. That's what I'm doing.
That's what you're doing. And again, I'm a reflection of that as on my own state. And that's where
you on point. You fight with it.
Come on now. You gotta be. Because at the end of the day, we're still dealing with the flawed, fractal human, fractured consciousness mind in the flesh. So again, I've had to learn, you gotta separate the message from the messenger. Sometimes that's just what it's gonna be. Yeah. And I appreciate what they're doing. And maybe they'll see what they have to work on and change, or maybe not. But guess what? It doesn't stop my shine, my glow, my flow. And I'm keeping it moved. Come on now.
What they say, period. That's what they do.
Right.
Period.
Come on now. Look, you can tell them like they used to tell them on In Living Color. You know how Blaine and Antoine do it on Men on Film. 2 snaps with a cosmic twist. I didn't really do the whole,
Yeah, I know you're gonna do all that.
Right, come on now. But like 2 snaps and a cosmic twist. Now, as comical as it was, they was. What I'm saying is that energetics, a cosmic twist, a cosmic swirl, a cosmic circle, 2 snaps in a circle. Look at the geometry they talk. They're talking about a spark or lighting something in a circle or a square. Like I say now. Come on now. When it's really popping off, you give it that accent to it. You give it that punctuation. And that's what I'm really, with the aspect I'm talking about. But again, we can always take from everything and find something to filtrate to get something out of it, to see what we do naturally and how we dialogue and share and care and laugh, because we all, laughing is healing, so, as much as I love to laugh and joke. So again, 2 cosmic twists in a swirl with some sacred geometry and activate them chakras. Adrian, you can give them the snaps to that.
Oh. Wait a minute.
There you go.
There we go.
You know what I'm saying? There you go. Look at Adrian. Adrian didn't put all that melanin all over it. It's over now. You didn't put the melanin magic on it, Adrian. There you go.
That hey ya.
That hey ya. There you go.
Hey ya.
Look, also known as that heka.
Ooh.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I'm evolving that heka. That hey ya, the heka. Come on now. See the reference. See the variation of the same thing? Heka, hey ya.
I know we always been tapped in. Like
always.
I told somebody, ancient Egypt never left. And when you want to remind yourself of it, look at yourself. Your avatar is the exact replica of ancient Egypt. I'm telling you.
Come on now. Like you say, ancient Egypt, ancient Kemetic,
Comedic,
Nubian,
yeah.
all that. You
It's
know,
the exact replica of it. It's called the human avatar.
come on now. And like you say, when we get into the spirit of it, it connects on a whole nother dimension. But I'm gonna say this because we're now approaching an hour and 35, and we
Oh
want to be
yeah, we'll
definitely
go ahead
cognizant
and
of,
wrap it up. Yeah.
you know what I'm
I
saying?
enjoyed it.
Oh, same here, Adrian, AK Spiritually 52. You know how we do it. We will be back with episode 2 at a later date and time very soon, nonetheless. And if Adrian wants to give her website or anything else she wants to get, any social medias real quick, we'll have them next time either in the banner or ticker box below, as well as eventually on the chat, because we're going to eventually go live at some point too.
Yes,
so we'll have some interaction for some other people, and we're going to also do a multi-guest panel, and we're going to be on here dialoguing and expanding and sharing and creatively investing and networking and bartering and buying and selling and promoting. And my thing is, there's enough to go around for all of us to eat, feel good, to be full, and to be truly abundant from the spirit and beyond.
Yes, exactly. I love it.
Any closing words, Adrian, you would like to leave us with?
Oh, well, let me first just thank you, Surreal Sunstones, for allowing me to be on this channel and this platform, giving me this experience. I enjoyed it. I love what you're doing. You're helping to heal the planet. And that's what this is what it's all about. No more of these harsh, unnecessary wars, calamity, and through the science and the teachings of the knowledge that we're talking about, I know we can move forward into a better future. So thank you so much for that. Shout out to the listeners. Oh my God. I mean, it's all about you, whoever that is listening. We're doing this out of the love for you too. And this cannot ever be without you being present also. So thank you all very much for giving your time and attention to hear what we have to say. And if you're interested, my product is my webpage is about to get ready to launch. I'm so happy about it. It's a long time coming.
That's right.
At Blissful.
Spiritual claps for that.
Yes, thank you. It's at blissfulbotanicalcreations.com. We'll have it up later on, but that's what it is. And you can sign up for the newsletter. You'll get a notification when it actually becomes live, to where you can actually go in and purchase products. I will have a discount code called welcome, but you can get free shipping on that too. So all that's programmed. I'm just going through the end technicalities of everything, but other than that, it's ready to go. So be on the lookout for that. blissfulbotanicalcreations.com. I'm happy about it, and I want you to have the same experience, because I know you will. But yes, I'm happy and excited about it. Thank you all so much, and special thanks to you, Surreal. Thank you.
Oh man, well, much love back to you. Definitely want to thank you for coming on and being part of the first group of guests. You're within the top 3 right now. You're the second guest officially.
Okay.
So definitely want to give you that special place. We got more to come and to expand on. And in the ancient expression or greeting, in Lakesh Alakin, some say in Lakesh Alakin, Hunab Ku. I am your brother Surreal Sunstones, and this is Surrealism Stream TV with special guest Adrian Kin 52, aka AK52. We will see you next time. Always in the present, always in the future. We're always gonna heal. We out. Thank you for listening, for watching. Peace.